Welcome to the Emotional Archive, where your feelings are listened to, not judged. This isn't a video about bad parents. It's about something much quieter. Some kids grow up knowing they're loved, even when they're struggling. Others grow up being fed, clothed, sent to school, and still feel completely alone. Not because their parents didn't care, but because they didn't know how to show it. If you've ever felt tired for no clear reason, this video might explain why. Sign 1. When your feelings are ignored. Imagine telling your parent you're upset, stressed, or hurt, and hearing, "You're overreacting. Stop being dramatic," or, "It's not that serious." Maybe you tried to explain that school feels overwhelming, that you're tired all the time, or that something someone said really hurt you. But instead of listening, they say things like, "You have nothing to be stressed about. When I was your age, I had it worse." Or, "You're just doing this for attention." Sometimes it happens when you're crying. Sometimes when you're quiet. Sometimes when you finally build the courage to speak and get shut down in seconds. When this keeps happening, you don't just feel unheard. You start to feel embarrassed for having feelings at all. So you stop opening up. Not because you're okay, but because you don't want to feel stupid, annoying, or weak for trying. You tell yourself, "I'll deal with it myself. It's not worth talking about." Or, "They won't understand anyway." Over time, keeping everything inside starts to weigh on you. It can turn into sadness, emotional numbness, or feeling tired all the time, even when you haven't done much. Sign 2. When you're always criticized. Sometimes the criticism is direct. "You're getting too fat. Why can't you be more intelligent? You're so slow at understanding things." Sometimes it's about what you're not good at. "Why are you so bad at sports? Everyone else can do this. Why can't you? You're not athletic at all." And a lot of times it's about academics. "These marks are still not enough. You should have scored more. Look at how well others are doing." Then come the comparisons. "Your cousin scored higher than you. Your friend is much smarter. Why can't you be like them?" When you hear things like this again and again, it stops feeling like motivation. It starts feeling like you're never enough. You don't just feel bad about your grades, your body, or your skills. You start feeling bad about yourself. You stop seeing mistakes as normal. You start believing something is wrong with you. Even when you improve, even when you try harder, you don't feel proud. You just wait for the next comparison, the next comment, the next reminder that someone else is doing better. That constant criticism builds pressure inside you. And over time, that pressure can break your confidence and leave you feeling emotionally tired and discouraged. Sign 3. When love feels like a reward. Do you notice that things at home feel warmer only when you act a certain way? When you get good grades? When teachers don't complain about you? When you stay quiet and don't argue back? When you don't talk about stress, sadness, or feeling overwhelmed? That's when parents joke with you. That's when they're nicer. That's when you feel noticed. But the moment you struggle, when your grades drop, when you get irritated, when you say something honest like, "I'm not okay," or when you mess up, everything shifts. Replies get short, faces look disappointed, the room feels tense. No shouting sometimes, just distance. So you start paying attention. You learn that being calm gets love. Being successful gets love. Being easy gets love. But being tired, sad, angry, or confused doesn't. So you hide parts of yourself. You smile even when school is crushing you. You say, "I'm fine," when you're not. You keep quiet to avoid changing the mood. Because it slowly starts to feel like love depends on how well you perform. And living like that, constantly monitoring your behavior, your emotions, and your words, is exhausting. Sign 4. when no one checks in emotionally. Your parents make sure the basics are covered. You eat, you go to school, you do what you're supposed to do. From the outside, it looks like you're fine. But no one really asks, "How are you feeling lately?" Or, "You've been quiet. Is something wrong?" Maybe you're exhausted from late nights and early mornings, zoning out in class, snapping over small things, losing interest in stuff you used to care about. And still, no one notices. Or they notice, but don't ask. So you stop waiting for someone to check in. You keep stress to yourself. You cry alone. You scroll your phone just to feel numb. And after a while, you start feeling invisible, even in your own house. That kind of loneliness is quiet, but it stays. Sign 5. When a parent is emotionally distant. Maybe one of your parents always seems exhausted. They come home tired. They're on their phone, stressed about work, bills, or things you don't fully understand. They're physically there, driving you places, eating dinner, sitting nearby, but mentally, they're somewhere else. You might want to talk about school, something that happened with friends, or something that's been bothering you for a while. You open your mouth, then stop, because they already look overwhelmed. You catch yourself thinking, "They've had a long day. I don't want to make things worse. My problems aren't that important." So you stay quiet. You deal with things alone. You scroll your phone instead of speaking up. You tell yourself you'll handle it. Over time, that silence becomes normal. You start carrying stress by yourself, handling emotions on your own, and carrying everything alone makes you feel heavy inside, tired, even when you haven't done much. The longer it goes on, the harder it becomes to ask for help at all. Sign 6. When everything is controlled. Some parents don't just guide you, they control everything. What you wear, who you talk to, what you're allowed to like, even how you're supposed to feel. If you're upset, you hear, "Don't feel that way." If you disagree, "I know what's best for you." Over time, you stop trusting your own thoughts. You hesitate before making simple choices. You second-guess yourself. You feel anxious doing things alone. That kind of control doesn't make you confident. It makes you feel stuck, like you're never capable enough. Sign 7. When expectations are too high. Maybe your parents expect straight A's, not effort, perfection. Maybe it's always doing more achievements, more wins, no room to slow down. Or maybe it's a future you didn't choose, the classes they want, the college they talk about, the life that looks good to them, but doesn't feel right to you. And when you mess up, even once, a bad test, a missed goal, it feels like everything falls apart. This is not what we expected from you. So you push harder. Late nights, no breaks, ignoring how exhausted you are. After a while, school stops feeling exciting. Success stops feeling good. Pressure replaces happiness, and you end up emotionally burnt out. Sign 8. When you don't feel safe showing emotions. If crying gets you yelled at, like being told to stop crying or be tough. If anger gets you punished, for getting frustrated, for raising your voice, for reacting after holding things in too long. Or if fear gets ignored, when you say you're anxious, nervous, or overwhelmed, and no one really listens. You learn something really fast. Hide it. You learn to keep your face calm, to say, "I'm fine," even when you're not. To push your feelings down so they don't cause trouble. On the outside, you look okay, quiet, in control. But inside, everything feels loud. Your thoughts won't slow down. Your chest feels tight. Your feelings don't go away, they just build up. Because emotions don't disappear when you hide them. They show up late at night, when you're alone, when you're trying to sleep. And after a while, hiding everything can make you feel numb, like you don't feel happy or sad, just empty. And that's how not feeling safe to show emotions can slowly turn into depression. Sign 9. When you grow up too fast. Some teens feel like they have to be the strong one, even when they don't want to be. You hear things you shouldn't have to hear yet. Money stress, arguments late at night, adult problems that aren't yours, but still sit heavy in your chest. You try to keep the peace. You stay calm. You stay quiet, because you're afraid things will fall apart if you don't. You worry more than kids your age should. You don't fully relax. You don't really switch off. You don't get to just be carefree. And growing up that fast doesn't always show on the outside. It shows up as being tired even after sleeping, drained without doing much, feeling older than you are, and not in a proud way. That kind of tiredness isn't physical, it's emotional. Sign 10. When you're constantly compared. Why can't you be like them? Your cousin is doing so much better. Your sibling never acts like this. Maybe it's about grades. Someone always scores higher. Maybe it's about sports. Someone's faster, stronger, more talented. Or maybe it's about behavior, how quiet they are, how mature they seem, how they never cause problems. No matter what you do, there's always someone else brought up as the example. Even when you improve, even when you try harder, it still doesn't feel enough. Instead of feeling motivated, you start feeling small. You begin to compare yourself to your body, your personality, your progress. You stop asking, "Am I growing?" and start asking, "Why am I not like them?" Over time, those comparisons sink in. You stop believing you're enough as you are. And when that happens, it doesn't just hurt your confidence, it changes how you see yourself. Sign 11. When parents are unpredictable. Some days, your parent is calm. They joke. Everything feels okay. Then, one small thing changes. You laugh a little too loud at dinner, and suddenly the mood flips. "What's wrong with you?" Your chest tightens. You ask a simple question. "Can I go out later?" Instead of an answer. Why do you always ask at the worst time? So next time, you don't ask. You walk into the house and you know immediately. The silence, the energy. You think, not today. You rehearse what you want to say, then stay quiet. One day you're praised for being mature. The next day yelled at for having an attitude. So you go neutral. You keep your voice flat, your emotions hidden. Not because you don't feel, but because feeling feels risky. And living like that keeps you tense, always bracing. Until one day, you realize you're exhausted, and you don't even know why. Sign 12. When mental health is brushed off. Sometimes you finally say it out loud. You say you're sad, and you hear, "You're just lazy." You say you're anxious, and they say, "Stop overthinking." Maybe you say you're tired all the time, or that school feels too heavy, or that your chest feels tight for no clear reason. But instead of help, you get brushed off. So you start thinking, maybe I really am just weak. Maybe this isn't serious. Maybe I shouldn't talk about it. You stop bringing it up. Not because you're okay, but because you don't want to feel stupid for struggling. And carrying everything alone doesn't make it disappear. It makes it heavier. Sign 13. When affection is rare. Think about how often you hear it. "I love you. I'm proud of you." Or how often someone hugs you, not because you did something right, not because you achieved something, but just because you're there. For some teens, that kind of affection is rare. Your parents might provide for you. They might care in practical ways. They show up, pay bills, make sure you're okay on paper. But emotionally, the warmth is missing. So you grow up without regular reassurance, without hearing that you matter just for being you. Over time, that can quietly affect how you see yourself. You might start feeling unwanted, even if no one ever says it out loud. You may crave validation, feel unsure in relationships, or constantly wonder if you're too much or not enough. And the hardest part is this: that lack of affection doesn't always hurt loudly. It shows up as a quiet ache, a feeling that something important is missing, even when you can't explain what. If these signs felt familiar, you're not alone. So if you want to understand yourself better, make sure to subscribe. And if this video helped you feel seen, share it with someone who might need it too. We'll see you in the next one.